In 1970s, Tokyo, a gleaming plan for an elevated expressway, ended in a sealed concrete tunnel that still cuts under the city like a ghost artery, proof that the future can be abandoned before it is ever seen. Across the 20th century, cities kept redrawing themselves on paper, promising cleaner streets, faster transit, and rational housing, only to watch politics, money, and engineering limits erase whole districts of ambition. The dream was always practical on the surface: move people faster, bury the sewage, raise the roads, stack the housing, and make the city behave like a machine that never wastes a minute. But every city also produced machines and prototypes so advanced that they arrived too early, too fragile, or too expensive to survive contact with the real world. Then came the megaprojects, where scale became the enemy and construction kept outrunning management, so that every new segment of concrete made the collapse more expensive to admit. Some plans failed because they were bold in the wrong places, creating corridors too hard to maintain, platforms too awkward to reach, and systems that turned elegant design into daily danger. And beneath the visible city, the most important systems were the easiest to forget: power grids, pumps, switch yards, and buried lines that had to work perfectly for the future to exist at all. When one weak link failed, the promise of modernization could freeze in place, and a city that looked advanced on the surface could lose light, water, or movement in a single night. That is why so many unfinished stations, unused platforms, and half-connected corridors still matter. They are concrete evidence of ambition, trapped halfway between blueprint and reality. And once you notice those ruins of planning, the skyline stops looking finished, because the city's real future is often hidden in the projects it never had the strength to complete. Behind the renderings, the city's future was often reduced to a drawing board promise: faster trains, cleaner streets, and a life reorganized by infrastructure that never quite arrived. Some inventions were brilliant too early, like machines that promised order and speed but failed when real cities demanded endurance, repair, and patience. The larger the scheme, the harsher the collapse, because a mega project could outrun funding, coordination, and even the city's ability to understand what it had started. Bold designs also hid ordinary dangers, and what looked elegant on paper could become a maintenance trap, a blind corner, or a fatal bottleneck in daily use. But the most decisive failures were often invisible, buried in power lines, pumping stations, and control rooms that held the city together without ever being seen. When a single transformer, valve, or switchyard failed, the whole promise of efficiency could collapse into darkness, silence, and waiting. Water systems could fail the same way because the city's future also depended on pipes, reservoirs, and treatment plants most people only noticed when they stopped working. Transit corridors, too, became monuments to interruption, with sealed doors, unused platforms, and corridors that seemed to lead somewhere until they simply ended. In the end, these places survive as records of ambition and distress, where every unfinished beam and idle hallway still points to the future that was planned but not delivered. And because those losses were built into concrete and steel, the city kept moving above them, unaware that its brightest horizon was still haunted by unfinished ground below. The promise was always the same: if the city could move faster, clean itself better, and waste less land, daily life would finally match the future on paper. So engineers built prototypes of the city to come: automatic systems, streamlined machines, and infrastructure so advanced that it often outpaced the era meant to use it. But the same ambition that made them brilliant also made them fragile, because a system designed for perfection can fail the moment maintenance, money, or patience runs out. The largest dreams collapsed under their own scale, when construction moved faster than supervision and a project became too vast for any single authority to control. On paper, bold geometry looked efficient. In reality, steep ramps, blind corners, and isolated platforms turned into safety problems that people had to live with. Behind the visible skyline, the most consequential systems were the ones nobody admired: power substations, water mains, signal rooms, and buried corridors of control. When one weak link failed, the promised future stopped instantly, and a whole district could be left dark, dry, or stranded in minutes. In unfinished stations, the evidence of that failure remained visible: tile work that ended at bare concrete, signs pointing nowhere, and platforms waiting for trains that never came. What survives is not the dream of perfection, but the stubborn machinery of adaptation, where cities keep repairing the future, one failed system at a time. And somewhere beneath every polished avenue, the unfinished plans remain, silent and exact, waiting in steel and concrete for the moment when the city remembers what it tried to become.